Howdy, and welcome to Risky Standard, an actual play podcast featuring a rowdy group of best friends playing tabletop role-playing games together. I am your host and GM, Mitch Broesder. You can find me over on Twitter at MagnesiumB. You can find the show over on Twitter at Standard Risky. And you can also catch us on the show's Discord, where we're chatting about the show, sharing character sheets, maps from some of the most recent missions, like inspiration photos, and just stuff we think is interesting. With me today, I've got Pete Loftus.
Yes, hello. My name's Pete. I'm also on Twitter at Chip Enjoyer, and I'm currently inside of a cargo container near a freight elevator.
We got Malcolm Hall here.
Hi, Malcolm Hall here. You can find me on a website called x.com. And that name on x.com is Horrid Scrum. I would also like to plug, I went to a restaurant last night, and we all have robots here, right? And I shit you not, this restaurant had damn robots serving me food. So if you're in Metairie, Louisiana, check out Crazy Hot Pot. Robots bring you food.
My favorite place to get apple cider donuts in the suburbs of Philadelphia also has a robot that makes the little donuts, pops them into the fryer, and they come out of a conveyor belt.
Does it have a cute kawaii face?
It does not. No.
See, this one did.
Oh, okay.
And does this servitude please you? Does it make you feel powerful to have that much sway?
We've also got Timothy Mans here tonight.
Hi, guys. If you want, you can go find me everywhere as Axe Hoarder. And I, too, go to a restaurant that has a robot employee. And every time I go, I play this character as a man whose wife does not let him eat there, but he does it anyway because he's being sneaky. And I write cute little notes and put it on their community board. So shout out to Cali Burger in Shoreline, Washington. If you're in the area, go look at the board. I probably have a note up.
Cali Burger is very good. I can attest to that.
And while you're at it, go ahead and post a cute little note on our community board down at the Risky Standard Discord.
Link to that in the show notes.
Even if your wife doesn't like you.
And today we are continuing our game of Beam Saber by Austin Ramsey. As always, you can go find Beam Saber on Austin's itch.io page. And as of this recording, Indie Press Revolution has some of the Beam Saber hard copies back in stock. I've said it before, say it again. It's an extremely handsome book. You should check it out. Yeah, we are jumping back in today in the middle of our ongoing mission. This is a mission that sees the squad infiltrating the secret Grenfield base known as Installation Indigo, where they have been tasked with finding the rogue scientist Harlow Shellspade and capturing his biometric data to crack the encrypted data cache the squad managed to steal from him on their first mission. The secondary objective, of course, to extract Shellspade himself and get him out of the hands of the Commonwealth, if at all possible. And on top of those objectives, there is also a sort of a third objective, or maybe rule of engagement's more accurate, has been relayed to Carta specifically, which is that if the squad cannot rescue Shellspade, then they are to execute him after retrieving the biometric scan so he does not fall into the hands of the Commonwealth. And so last we left off, the squad had arrived at the abandoned orichalcum mine known as Brago's Perch, and we made a slow and stealthy approach, and then you managed to pick the locks on the hidden exterior door and make your way into the interior of Installation Indigo. and you guys were arrived in what you saw was demarcated as level 3, the evacuation hangar. There's this sort of dimly lit room full of cargo, a handful of vehicles, some like medical supplies, sort of everything you need to get out of a place very quickly and under duress. Shortly after your arrival there, a guard, a member of the marked band, came down from an elevator to investigate, and Desmond, using the Mercuria, you struck him down when the danger of discovery became known. And that is basically right where we left off, right? You just killed this marked band security guard, and the room had filled with the silence that had been there before your arrival. And so we're probably going to kind of come back in there today. Are there any like last minute questions? Anything anyone wants to say before we kind of get the ball rolling on this bad boy?
No. May the dice help us all.
So yeah, just to kind of set it back up a little bit again, right? You were in this kind of, this hangar. It is inside the remnants of an old mine. So this is not like a completely finished facility. I think we are still looking at like a lot of like bare stone walls, kind of like naked support struts running along their lengths, reinforcing the room. And, the room you're in, the front of it, there's like a lot of like, I think cargo crates off to one side. There are a couple of these vehicles off to the other side. I think Rhodes, you described yourself hiding in one of these cargo crates.
Right.
And then at the back of the room, there is kind of a slightly raised platform. And at the back of that room, there is kind of two different elevators, or like elevator platforms side by side. I described them before. They are not like enclosed shafts. They are, these lifts that I think you can see all of the rigging and everything that's, going up into the roof of this. And I think there's like a much larger platform that is clearly like a freight elevator for moving cargo up and down. And then, right next to that, there is a smaller gated kind of personnel lift, which is what the security guard you just encountered came down through. And now that I think you've got a moment here alone without the immediate threat of discovery again, I think you have like a little bit more time to just look around the room. You can see off to the back and side of the room, marked. I think that there is like probably some lighting and some signage here, right? There is a smooth tunnel entrance off to the side, of tunnels going deeper into the mine. An indication, I think even from where you're at, you can see that the tunnel leading out of here is starting to slant up. This is a tunnel entrance that heads up to the next level of this installation. And I think on the opposite side of that, on the other side of that platform, there is the blinking light of a large computer terminal, this kind of bulbous CRT monitor kind of giving off a dim glow. This is what you saw the security guard use when he first came down to look at the footage that the drone that had investigated you as you were coming through on your armor earlier had looked at. I think that is where we are at. We are in this room. I think Desmond has, just moments ago struck down the security guard with the mech, just like an instant killing blow. And yeah, this kind of heavy silence has filled the room in the aftermath. And you are in just dim light of this hangar bay. Most of the lights are not on still, right? The room is kind of shut down in that way. But I think it's, kind of the first moment since you started moving through that minefield previously that you've all had a chance to catch a breath and to think for a moment. And so, I guess I kind of want to before we move into like that whatever the next action is, I just kind of want to get a sense here of, where is everyone at? How is everyone doing? And how do you all interact with each other after Desmond has had to, take this lethal action against this guard? What's going on with the Black Star Constellation as we come back in?
I probably exited the crate, and I'm imagining, like a kind of pen light, like sweeping around, and then I think Rhodes probably didn't see this happen, but heard it. And maybe, I don't know about you, Carter, but I guess I think it's sort of funny, camera panning up to the three of us kind of standing around this.
Yeah, hops out from behind the vehicle he was, hiding in the kind of the shadow of the wheel well. I guess cautiously he approaches the guard who came down without trying to get blood on shit all over him or whatever. Does try to do a pat down to see if there's a key card or, any other types of things that might benefit us moving up through this installation. So I don't know what he has, but I don't know. Should I grab his radio? The radio might be broken. He got...
Well, so I don't think you have to roll for this. There's no pressure here, but I think It was like a powerful blow from that mech. I think his uniform ruined. There's no uniform swap happening, at least not yet in this episode. But I think his gun is still intact, is fine. I think that there is, probably like some kind of like heavy like metal encased like security pass or something, right? Like on his utility belt that I think you're able to pull off.
Okay.
And I imagine he doesn't have, I think, like you saw this, he didn't have a handheld radio. This person was wearing like a combat helmet that has like an integrated like radio mic in the helmet proper. That helmet is intact. You could theoretically grab that or try and pull like the communications array out of it, I suppose, if you wanted to. I think it's worth saying, I think I said this last time, but I'll say it again. The kind of way this had happened, this guard had just checked in. You had heard him check in with Butte, right? He had called out Brute specifically when he was radioing in his investigation of the evacuation hangar. And so you're not in like an immediate danger of any suspicion that he hasn't checked back in, right? He did check in. But I do think that there will be a point eventually where this disappearance is noticed, right? A clock has started in a way. I'm not actually starting a clock here yet for that, but in a more kind of metaphorical sense, like a clock has started now. There will be a point where someone is going to call this person and he is not going to respond. But you've got a little while.
Or he might. If it depends on
yeah, right. I guess so. But other than that, like I said, there's like extra ammunition on him. There is probably some kind of like I would imagine like a flashbang grenade or something like that, right? Or like some kind of like stun grenade clipped also onto his assembly. But other than that, I don't think there's any other like unusual gear here, right?
Okay. Well, I guess I grab the pass. If I, however it is, earpiece grab, so we can keep at least that communication. Figure out where people might be, see if that benefits us, and if it doesn't, turn it off, break it, whatever.
All right.
Grab the flashbang. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Is Des still in the machine?
Well, yeah. As all this is going down, I think that it switches into the quadrupedal orientation to bring the cockpit sort of lower to the ground. Cockpit opens up, and he jumps out, and he walks over to this marked band member.
He's dead.
Well, I can see that. Did you get his pass?
Carter was digging around.
You have it?
I do. You want to hold on to it?
What was his name?
You can find it. There's like a little patch on the armored vest he was wearing. This was Egg.
Egg.
You
know this guy?
No. I wouldn't hang out with anybody by the name of Egg. Hey, do you think he's about the same size as you, Carter?
At one point he could have been, but why?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. No, his clothes are pretty.
I'm not putting on that jacket.
I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's not. That's definitely.
Yep, it's me, Egg. I'm wearing my gore jacket like everyone likes.
Egg, you're awful quiet tonight. You're doing like a Marx Brothers routine.
Egg, also Lectorian. None of you have like large ram's horns.
We don't have a whole lot of time. Shit, this is not. I mean, whatever. I knew this was going to suck, but this is sucking way more than it normally does. A lot sooner. Sucking eggs. Let's get a move on.
Should we check out the array? See what the terminal has?
Yeah, I do think so.
I think Rhodes like kind of nods, lets you go after it. While you're checking out the terminal, I want to take a look at the like elevator shaft because you said it's like a cage lift, right? Like, is this presumably like an open air lift?
Yeah, it is. There's like an open air shaft. There's like two platforms here. There's like a wider, flat, large one that is like, big enough to put like a shipping container on, right? It's like a thing that they clearly move cargo up and down. And then installed like next to it, I think probably like they are running in the same like larger kind of exposed mine shaft is this caged personnel elevator that can fit 3 or 4 people in it. It's much smaller.
What I want to see is if this is what I'm imagining anyway, it's like one of those old elevator shaft buildings where you just see like all the way to the top.
Yeah.
So I wanted to like kind of glance up there and see if there's anything like climbable, like there's like a ladder that runs alongside it, or
wait, hold on one second. An old elevator shaft you can see all the way to the top?
Well, I mean, I guess like all elevator shafts you can see all the way to the top. I was just imagining like, you see those sometimes like freight like in a factory, right? Where it's literally just like a platform on a cable.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you? This is like why don't we gather info here?
Sure.
See?
I think it's a study.
Study? Yeah, I'll take study.
I'm just rolling 1d6. 2.
2.
Rather get this out now.
Yeah. Burn through the bad ones on some gathering information rolls.
Yeah.
No risk there. So on a 2, I think you can see there's cabling that, like runs up and down it to like maintain these elevators. And I think that there is, at the back, like there is a set of like very crude, like iron, like hand guards for like, climbing up and down the shaft, right? For like maintenance or something. But I think like even at just the glance, you can see this is from the old mine. This is not like something that's been maintained during the installation of this new facility. And I think on limited, the other thing you would get, right, is like, it looks like it's a pretty decent climb up to like, the faint glow of light of like the next opening on this elevator. Yeah, it'd be a climb for sure.
Yeah, you can switch back to those guys on the terminal. I'll bring it up later.
Yeah, again, I think it's kind of just a general gather information role. I guess I guess it's interface. I'm not trying to like necessarily hack it. I'm just trying to like.
So that's the thing. I think as you walk up, right.
Mm-hmm.
Right, there's this terminal, and I think if you open it, there's probably some public utilities on it that you can utilize without having to like log in, right? Mm-hmm. You get like a kind of simple display, but then I think there's like probably like some kind of like icon here for like security, right?
Yeah,
like this is how he was looking at like security cameras before. I think it's like clear to you that like that is like a gated login.
Cool. And does his ID pass whatever, does that do anything to unlock?
I think this is like you have to enter a password into this thing. I think the keypad you can I think you've seen this kind of thing before. The key pass that you've taken unlocks doors.
Right.
And also I think probably you can see on those elevators there is like on the big freight elevator there is kind of like a control pedestal. Yep. There's a like a panel on the caged elevator with like a scanner that would respond to this, okay. Right? This would give you elevator access. It'll probably open doors, but it will not get you into the computer.
Well, Carter starts typing in passwords. Password 1, 2, 3.
Well, so as I say, I think if you want to gather information, you can do that here using interface, and that will only give you like publicly accessible information on the terminal, right? Okay. You won't be getting into any programs. If you want to get like deeper access, I think that's a roll. I think there's a risk there.
I think for right now, it's mostly just a going through it to see what public. Clicking things that are already open, seeing if there's like, oh, I can switch to different cameras, or is there even a basic like roster or schedule, who's doing what?
Yeah, I think so we get Carta messing around the computer while further off on the platform, Rhodes is like with the pen light looking up the shaft, trying to kind of like see what's going on with the elevator. I think that's like a good little like detective scene here. So gather information, give me an interface. There's no consequence here per se yet. Besides time is passing, right? That's the...
I don't have any interface, so it's rolling 1, taking the worst result.
It's rolling 2d6 and taking the lowest result.
Yeah, rolling 3 and a 6, of course.
Hey, that is a 6, but not for you. I should open Discord, actually, so I can see these dice rolls. But I trust you're all being very honest.
Oh, shit. Far. I didn't know you didn't have Discord open. Fuck.
Yeah.
Wow, another 6? That's crazy.
So on a 3, there's not a lot on this computer that is open that does not require access, right?
Right.
I think Carta keeps like trying to open different, programs or protocols on this thing. And over again, it is like, authorize identity, stuff like that. But I think, on that 3, you get, first of all, and first and foremost, you get like, not a layout of this installation, right? You don't get like a map per se, but I think you get that there are 3 main levels. You are on level 3, the lowest. There are 2 other primary levels, and then there is a 4th level that is referred to as the peak hangar. And I think, there's like something on here that lets you see, hey, where is the elevator right now, right? That's like the function that you use to get this information from.
Oh, 4th.
The hangar. This freight elevator can go all the way from the lowest level to the highest level.
Okay.
I think you can see also, on a 3, here's a little bit, you can see that the personnel lift only takes you levels 3 through 1.
Personnel 3 through 1. Okay.
The freight elevator, to get to the peak hangar, you have to use this freight elevator. And I think, what else? Yeah, like I said, I don't think you get like a lot. This is a 3, right? This is limited information. I think you can probably gather that like personnel are housed on level 2. I think that's like the other kind of piece of information that you get here. Past that, I think, unfortunately, there's just not that much publicly publicly available information on here.
Okay.
But maybe there's like a chat protocol, right? That's like the thing that you like kind of glancing through, and it's mostly just like these researchers at this facility complaining to each other, right? It's like they're like Slack almost, but it's just like the public channel. And so that's where you get like someone had references like having to like do kitchen patrol, right? They're on KP duty, and so they'll be on like level 2 all day. But past that, yeah, I think that's like all you're able to get, unless you want to try and like crack into some of this system and like search for something further, which would be a role with a position and a risk to it.
I think right now that is just, I'm going to take that info and not try to push it too far before we can even get further into.
Makes sense.
There might be another level with another place where we can get that, or a person who we can threaten to put in information. But right now, I'm just going to take what I got.
What is Desmond doing while these two guys are doing this? While they're kind of investigating at the computer and the mine shaft, respectively.
The mine shaft or the
elevator shaft?
The elevator shaft, okay.
Which is in a mine and was
That's
used.
True.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I guess he is getting back into the Mercuria. He's ambling over to the freight elevator. Is going to try and get it on there. Is there enough room?
There is. So I think as you kind of make your way to this platform, Desmond is an accomplished pilot, an accomplished thief, and has spent time in mines before.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I will say. I think the freight elevator can easily fit the Mercuria. It could fit a much larger vehicle than the Mercuria, right?
Got it.
And so like this elevator and this elevator shaft will both easily accommodate the Mercuria. But also, Des, I think this freight elevator will not be quiet when it moves.
Yeah, I was just going to say, was like, Des, wait a second.
It's a big elevator. It probably flashes lights when it moves because it is like a serious piece of hardware. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some safety concerns. This place is not OSHA compliant per se, but
there's still things people do so that they don't die themselves.
Yeah.
There's really short railings. They're not super helpful. They're like a foot high.
The personnel lift, I think, is much too small for the Mercuria.
Yes.
But does move much more quietly.
Got it.
And then I think the other thing you can see is, there are these tunnels, right? These mining tunnels. And I think that you could, the Mercuria on all fours, probably squeeze it into one of those, which would be certainly the quietest way to try and ascend through the facility. But you'd be very limited in terms of maneuverability, right?
Yeah.
It'd be a tight squeeze. You wouldn't be able to like dance around in there whatsoever.
See, I was going to send you up to dance and distract them.
Well, wait a second. So the map gathering information that Carta didn't reveal anything about what's on level 1, right? What's above the barrack floor between the hangar and the personnel floor?
It did not.
Okay. Be like, wait a second, Des. Well, we all have climbing gear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think we're going to come back out this way? We know it's quiet. What if we disable the elevators?
Yeah.
Climb our way up.
Oh, okay.
That way, if anything comes down from this peak hangar, at least it's not coming down here the same way we are.
All right, I'm feeling nimble.
Do you guys have climbing gear? It's in my pilot book, but
yeah.
That's general pilot gear, I believe.
And you have your grapnel anchors, and then the Mercuria can climb, right?
It can climb.
Yeah, we've depicted it doing that before. Yeah, it climbed up a cliff face.
Get these elevators out of commission. The shaft's an option. How long is it before someone needs it and it causes a bigger issue? I say get Des. Keep that thing invisible. See if we can get up and around the corner, up to see where this shaft leads, and maybe will give us a peek into some other location. If you can get up around the corner, give us a little bit of idea that even if we do take the shaft, we pop out the door, we know what we're going to be facing.
Can we see where the freight elevator platform is right now?
Ooh,
Clearly it's not on this floor.
Yeah, the freight's not on this floor. I think it's just the personnel on this floor right now. Or I guess we just described the freight elevator as being there. So I guess the freight is maybe down with you guys.
Okay, so they're both down here.
Yeah, I guess so. That's how we described it. Let's roll with it. Yeah, I'd say they're both down there right now.
All right, well, I guess it's My decision. I'm the leader. I'm the mission leader.
There's also the classic Guns of Navarone elevator lift scenario where if you haven't seen the I don't even know what, the Peter Lorre movie Guns of Navarone, at the end of lift, they rig a lift with explosives on the bottom of the platform and the fuse is on the lowest level. So when the platform descends again, it detonates.
Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how that really helps us right now.
Not really here unless we send it up first.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then we got a ghost coming out when it opens and there's nothing there.
Yeah, they're going to be looking for something.
Right into our trap. All right, well, your call, Des.
Mercurius stays here for now. I think he pulls out his remote, control, presses a couple buttons, and it skulks back into the shadows, like sort of curls up into a ball, completely invisible, and goes into standby mode. We take it from foot by here. This is our, what's the word I'm looking for? This is our ingress, and it's also our egress. We're going to leave the same way that we came in. We're going to go up there, we're going to get shell spade, and we're going to get back down.
Roger that. Follow your lead.
Are we taking these elevators out first?
Yeah, let's take the elevators up.
Up? Like taking them up or taking them out is what I'm saying.
Taking them out?
So that we aren't climbing up a wall and someone can call it up and all of a sudden,
Exactly. I mean, no, it's right here. Why would we climb all the way up when you could just take the elevator right now?
That's going to be loud. They're going to see us right away, but...
The passenger elevator?
I mean, it's an open shaft, right? So the platform just comes up to the floor and we just walk out. I think you're the only one with active camouflage.
On the passenger elevator, not just the freight elevator.
The passenger elevator will definitely be quieter, but I think in terms
we don't know who's upstairs or anything. Okay, I guess we gotta climb all the way up. Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Is it a climbing scene?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
I'm climbing first, right? I'm probably the best climber. So I'm going and I'm tapping in the little things and yeah.
So I think at least one person needs to take climbing gear to make this work.
That's 2. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 2 load. And also I'd say in terms of the elevators, worth bearing in mind, you guys have had some time alone down here. You could always flash back to having done, you know what I mean? That this is like an excellent moment to utilize flashing back to a previous point in the mission to have done something.
Oh, and then climbing gear includes ascenders too.
Ascenders.
Ascenders.
Will we want to be upside down that long? Okay.
It says Des taking climbing gear since you're kind of like on the lead here.
Yep.
Okay.
Group action?
I think this sounds like a group action. Which is a good time to use the new squad ability synchronized.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. We had that.
Yeah, so you guys use your most recent level up to take the ability Synchronized, which is a squad ability that says, when you perform a group action, you may count multiple 6s from different rolls as a critical success. So I think you guys are climbing up. Des is kind of leading the way, is laying down the rope and ascenders as you're all going. I think this is risky standard. I was on the fence between controlled or risky, but I would think there's a bit of a time crunch here. It's a long climb and a long fall if you fuck it up. Yeah, let's say this is risky standard. Des, it sounds to me like you're leading the charge here.
I lead the charge. So
the way this works is, I guess we should talk about what you guys are all rolling. This looks like prowl to me, but I'm open if you have a better action. You prowl, you move with grace and precision. You might climb a mech in the middle of battle. I think this is probably prowl.
Yeah.
And so the way group actions work, again, just as a reminder, one person is the leader, but all of you are going to roll your prowl. And for every failure, Desmond is going to take 1 stress, but we count every success. And because of your ability, if we get multiple 6s, this will count as a critical success instead.
Okay.
So if everyone wants to, roll their prowl, I guess before we do, if anyone wants to push, that is an option here. But I would say, the group roll already gives you a better chance of success than rolling singularly.
I cannot.
Yeah, I don't know. My thought is, do I spend it now to help us facilitate the up and down, which will be great for later in the mission too, if we come back down this way, Or do I save it for us climbing up into a space where we don't know what we're going to run into, and I might need to push things quickly then?
Sounds like you answered that one.
Yeah, I'm going to save it. I think I'm just going to...
Cool. So it looks like Rhodes and Carta are both rolling 1 dice for Prowl, and Desmond is rolling 2. Is that right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whenever you guys are ready, feel free to roll those d6. We can see what
I'm ready to go.
Rolling. 4.
Oh, we got
6.
a 6.
4. Oh, I got the 6.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, that is a 6. So that is that it counts as a total success, and
Woo.
There were no failures there. So Desmond, you take no stress from this.
Absolutely
amazing. First time using that.
I was so worried it was just going to be 2s all the way down, and Des was going to stress out in the middle of the shaft.
So Desmond, you're our intrepid leader. Do you want to give me like a picture here of what this looks like?
Oh yeah, totally.
What's the cool like sci-fi climbing tech that we're using here? Like what is this? I think this takes a while. I will say this. I think this is like to get to the next level, right? You know, you're climbing for like what's like a amount of time that's like a long time to be climbing, but not an insane amount of time for
maybe like half an hour, 45 minutes.
20, yeah.
Maybe a little less than that, right? Like, because this is on
20,
a 6.
20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 20-minute climb, like a 15.
That's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long climb.
Yeah.
You know, you're going for a while, right?
I think that what it is the little anchor points, it's like on a little string. It's on the rope, right? It kind of swings it and throws it. And then when it makes contact with the wall, it like latches on and it drills in on its own. And then it's anchored, and you're like, okay, pull up, have another one, pulling them out as we go. Yeah.
I think this is also probably, right? Like, as you know, Des is the one who's done this kind of stuff before, right? Like, I think you're able to identify like the safest places to be dropping these in, right? Mm-hmm. And like you're kind of finding because this shaft, I think, is not like a clean bored hole in the rock, right? It's still like rough in places, right? There are times,
it's craggy.
Yeah. And I think also you're cutting through. Occasionally, you are in this deep darkness. There's a little bit of light, this like faint glow. It comes from like a streak of orichalcum, like here and there, peeking out in this mostly depleted mine. But every once in a while, you catch like a glimpse of
vein
that throws off this kind of iridescent glow. And after some like long, arduous climbing, you get to the point where now there's a change in the quality of light. There's a little bit of the same dim kind of like not emergency, but I imagine I'm trying to think like this place is never completely dark because it would be so dangerous if the lights were always ever completely off, right? But I imagine during this like night cycle they power them down so that it's just like the mission critical lights running, and so there is this faint glow of light spilling over. You can start to see the defined edge of the level above you as you finally get to your goal. But you move. There's no unexpected surprises on this climb, right? It is just the hard work of getting up there. And then I think you're like a few feet below the edge, able to go up over the side whenever you're ready. But I don't know if there's like a
if we were going up over the side, like I guess in my mind we're at the back. I guess there's not. Is there like a back where we're more in the shadows?
There's a back that's like a kind of against. I think you can see kind of curving up above you. There is like on the north end of this shaft, the opposite of the way that you came in initially. Like that's kind of up against a wall, right? The wall of the actual like chamber above you is closer to there, and so I think it's darker at that northern exposure.
If someone was to be back there, and because the platform is open, would the people, if anyone there, would they be able to see them immediately, or is it like if you're quiet enough, you might be able to sneak up and then go back down into the darkness?
I think shadowy enough that you stand a good chance of being able to pull yourselves up there.
I just didn't know if it was like, no, you're going to see the light, like.
No, I think the lights are dim enough right now, especially with the elevator not there, that I think you can kind of probably finagle your way up without obviously jumping into a spotlight.
Okay,
right?
Cool. I mean, we could also try to do the old-fashioned like gum with a little mirror up over the.
Yeah, if someone wanted to throw like a drone up or some kind of camera.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does anyone have like a specialized hunter robot with fine optics?
I do, but I didn't know if that was something that I could only have when I was with the mech.
No, because that's a pilot gear. Your mech has a different set of drones that.
I already marked it too.
Yeah.
Haha. I already marked it. Yeah, sure. We could do that too. Yeah.
Is that what? Do you want to use that now before you go up?
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's kind of in the dark and in the back, like just getting the drone up high enough so that it like can get a peek over the ledge.
Does Carter how does Carter relay that to the squad before you send your drone? Like, is that on the throat mic, or is there like a cool hand signal here? What do we get on camera?
Pulls it out of the whatever backpack pocket where he keeps it, and I think he kind of taps his foot on the wall and does like the be quiet. I'm gonna send this up hand motion, and then just trying to be quiet as we can because we don't know what is up there. And he's just sending it to peek right over the ledge in the back so that like if anyone does happen to look at it or catch it, it can disappear quicker.
Is this I think we did this before as like a survey? Is that what we're doing again? I would say going off of the the 6 that you just rolled as that group action. I think that this can be controlled standard instead of risky standard, right? You've gotten a good position. You've had time to prepare. You're doing like kind of the safest way to get your eyes on what's up there. So I'd say this is controlled standard to send the drone up and survey.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll 2 for that.
Ooh,
shake it off.
That is for the audience. That's a 1 and a 3, and those are both numbers that are failures. It's controlled though. That's good. Controlled failure. The pilot falters. They can press on by seizing a risky opportunity or withdraw and try a different approach and action. So what that looks like here is, I think, you are right, like the 3 of you in the line, like hanging off the ropes, like I'd imagine you've got like your little like palm controller for the drone as you're navigating it up. And you're starting to just about to come up over like the actual lip of the like elevator shaft here that like would put you out in the open. And you're all accomplished professionals. You guys have done all your fair share of sneaking and skulking, breaking and entering, that kind of thing. And so I think you recognize, this is like everything in the Commonwealth is, for the most part, like mass produced, right? They're buying parts off the shelf. And I think you recognize like a lighting fixture that is like mounted on one of like the support struts at like the mouth of the elevator shaft. And I think you recognize that it is like a motion activated light sensor.
Okay.
And I think, you'll be able to stop the drone before it goes any higher and triggers that sensor. But there are motion activated lights kind of installed around this elevator shaft, not to catch intruders, but to stop anyone from accidentally walking into the open shaft when the platforms are not there. And so I think if you want to get, the scan with the drone here, that you could push on, it would be risky now because you'd have to navigate it through like the dead spot to avoid setting off those lights. Or you guys could try a different approach.
Well, sorry. So it's like a...
So I think there's like some infrastructure built up around the elevator shaft,
right, like a gate, so you can't...
And some like, not just like necessarily like a full gate, but like there are some like railings, and then I think there are also like support struts that run the full length from this shaft and then going up, because this elevator continues up, but there is kind of an open area, an open air space around it. Because this thing is not emerging, into an enclosed shaft. As it gets to the second level, I think it emerges into the open air and then continues up along the wall and tracks up into the next like part of the shaft.
Okay.
And so around that, there are like struts and mounts that have, lights on them. Some lights are on, right? Just kind of like the always on emergency lighting. But yeah, I think you detect that you can see there are sensors that are motion activated.
And the drone would just set that off.
The drone would set that off if it went any higher, like high enough to actually get a view of like the chamber you're about to enter into. So you could roll again, but it would be a risky position, which would mean the potential for consequences would be worse. Or you all could try a different approach. It would still be controlled, but it would be a different tactic for getting up into that zone unseen with like an eye.
Does the hunter robot have anything Like any cool little...
I don't think it has the ability to not set off a motion sensor, I guess, your robot obeys your commands and anticipates your actions, can carry 2 load of general pilot gear or scout pilot gear.
Yeah, unfortunately, all of the cloaking stuff is infiltrator pilot gear, not scout pilot gear. But I think you could, Carter, you could pilot it up there around those sensors. It would just be risky.
Right. Whether it is easier or better for us to just try to get some other eyes up there or whatnot than trying to take on more risk while we are in the elevator. I just don't know whether trying to take on that risk right now is going to be...
Yeah, I'm just going to climb up there.
All right, let's just go. We're going to have to deal with what's up there either way, so...
Yep. Oh, wait, this is only the first level, or...?
This is level 2.
Level 2?
Yeah.
So we were on level 3
You're on level 3. You've ascended to level 2.
Level 2. Why don't we keep climbing? I guess we don't really know where he is, so he could be anywhere. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, even before... you'll be emerging into this chamber no matter what. There is kind of like a... I think as you emerge into this chamber, right, there is like a gap in the elevator shaft. It becomes open air for this stretch. And I think the elevator is mostly moving along like the tracking on the walls up until it gets into the next shaft above it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Right. So no matter what, you are going to kind of emerge into this area for a moment. I think like that said, I think like this role has revealed like these lights are an obstacle for you guys as well, right? Like if you are coming up out of this shaft, there's a chance of triggering these motion activated lights.
Mm-hmm.
So I think no matter what, getting around these is an obstacle that you guys have to face in this moment. So how are you getting yourselves up and out of the elevator shaft in a way that does not trigger these?
Are there any chutes? Sorry, not chutes, like shafts. Any mining shafts, like off of where this floor is? Like anything that looks like a hole in the wall, basically?
Like within the elevator shaft that you've been going up?
Yeah, or like anything around here looks like it's like an older entrance.
I would say, actually, forget gathering fish. I would say that coming up, you have seen a few different spots that look like they might have been like remnants of old mining shafts that have kind of been like, run into, by like kind of come into like contact with this elevator shaft. Some of them, I think, even are like very loosely boarded up. Others open, but I think there's no way of telling for sure where any of them lead or how they connect to anything else in here, right? So you could definitely try and sneak into one of them, but you'd then be kind of going off the map in that way.
Try to send a drone into one of those, but that's a lot of just sending drones into things if we're trying to just...
I'd say the greatest risk then, you're in the dark, you're not
What about, didn't once before... Desmond, did you have like some kind of listening gear?
Oh, interesting. Do I? Let's see here.
You did this once before. I can't remember what we... Oh, that was when you were in the Mercuria. We just had the Mercuria's sensors doing that, yeah.
I mean, could you mark it as like burglary gear or something? Like, I don't know.
No.
I mean, I think there's like 2 options. One of us comes up with some sort of hardware solution for this, or we just slip up there, trip the lights, and let it happen. I don't have anything that can block this out. I mean, we could like break it, but if it's multiple fixtures, it's probably not going to work.
Yeah.
Silencer. There isn't any kind of control panel that I can see, is there?
For those lights?
Yeah.
There's probably I imagine, like probably some kind of like junction box or something where a lot of like the power cables are all like, because it's like, I think cabling running up and down this shaft, right, of like different like power cables running in and out of here. There's probably some kind of like junction box in this shaft that a lot of like
okay,
these all connect to.
That's okay. I think that's what about I have a long range transmitter I can probably configure to like maybe send a throw the switch or disable the switch temporarily. Could I try and like engineer to fiddle with the long range transmitter to try and like temporarily disable the sensor?
Yeah. So wait,
essentially, I'm going to use this long range transmitter to, instead of broadcasting voice, like broadcast whatever band these, like lights are transmitting on, and try and just kind of overwhelm it so that it shuts down.
Yeah, I think
it's basically signal overload, right? Like it just scrambles the input.
Yeah, I think you can do that.
Any other better ideas?
No, I think that's actually pretty good. I didn't even think about a box that might control them.
Maybe it's like, as we're scanning around here, like we're tracing the cabling from the light down through the shaft, and it's like, oh, there it is. Like, that like steel box with the hatch where all the fuses are on.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a couple little gadgets. Like, there's like the Palm computer or the, maybe the long range transmitters. Like, it does say a device necessary for sending data over distances greater than a couple of city blocks. Maybe that's too big, but maybe I can fiddle with this Palm Pilot.
Yeah, I think the Palm computer with useful programs might be the more fiction appropriate device here. Sure. But I like this idea. Yeah, right. You are like using it to like send out a signal. We haven't really messed with like the apps and like hacking kind of stuff in this.
It's like the Flipper Zero. If you know what that is.
Yeah, Flipper Zero, exactly is what I'm thinking of, yeah.
Flipper Zero.
Yeah.
It's like a hack tool. It's really sick, actually. You can like clone,
You can clone, RFIDs. You can I don't know.
Like turn TVs on and off, camera control. You can do kind of a lot of things that we wouldn't endorse at Risky Standard.
I'd endorse them.
Except for the burglar in the group. So with using an engineer role like that, can I use like a material point or anything to like add a dice? Or
you can push yourself.
I know. That's what I'm avoiding.
A devil's bargain. I would say collateral die here. I would say I'll give you that devil's bargain. If you want to spend a material here, I'll let you take a dice on this.
And the downside? That I'm spending material.
Yeah, that you have to burn a material to get this dice on this roll.
How are we doing on material?
You guys actually have a fair amount.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do it. I'm going to take an extra dice on that one.
All right, I'm going to delete that material from your sheet.
Thank you. Okay, rolling 2d6 to try and scramble this light.
Let's go, baby.
That's a 6, baby.
Oh.
This is controlled standard. We said controlled. On a... That's a 6, you said?
Mm-hmm.
All right, on a 6, I think that there's like a brief, like you're searching for the signal, you lock on.
Can I, on a 6, is it like enough of a field that it's kind of just transmitting with us?
What do you mean?
Like cameras and lights? If it's a scrambler here, like does it give us a temporary blackout?
I don't think
listeners, I'm crossing my fingers.
I don't think you have like a roving tech blackout. I think this thing is fairly attenuated to the thing that you've just done it to.
Okay.
But on a 6, I would say you have like now permanent, not permanent, but for as long as you're like in the facility and in the area, you have control over these lights around this elevator shaft. They will not activate because of your presence. And I think if you ascend to the next level, you'll be able to solve that problem without a roll because you'll already have the same code. Like the code will work again. So you have freedom to move throughout this elevator shaft without like activating any of these automated lights.
And it does not affect any of the lights on the floor of that, just shaft related.
Yeah. I don't think this like turns off the lights in the whole facility. That would probably be like a slightly more
But it's
dangerous.
just shaft. It's not even just this floor.
Yeah, but the entire elevator shaft, all of these motion activated lights, you will be safe from. You will not set any of them off by moving through them now.
Okay, nice.
And I think that will allow you guys to then safely climb up out of the elevator shaft into the shadows on like the northern side without you'd have to roll to get up there safely and kind of like securely, I would say.
All right, so we come up through the freight elevator. The tunnel entrances. What do we see? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to tell you what you see. Yeah, so as you come up to the chamber that is level 2, I'm going to give you kind of like a quick rundown here of what you see. Just kind of visual description. And then we can kind of go from there. So yeah, you guys are on like the northern end of this pretty large chamber. This is much larger than... This is like a much larger chamber than the level 3 chamber was, right? The evacuation chamber, basically kind of like an oversized garage. This is like a large cavernous chamber in a mine. Probably like a football field's like length, maybe even a little bit more, right? The ceiling's high enough that I think it's like you can only barely make out the curvature of like the rock roof above you, right? Maybe again illuminated here and there by just the faintest splashes of like orichalcum veins poking through. And so from your spot up here, along this northern wall, like the wall you're against, on your left and your right, I think you can see tunnel entrances going into the mines. And I think the one to your right, to the western edge, as you've come up, is marked as like the ascending tunnel system. It's heading to level 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on your left is the tunnel entrance that's descending. It's the way that you would have come out if you had taken those tunnels instead.
Okay.
And then there's this pretty large chamber, that you're kind of like staring out into. And I think there are kind of, there's stuff around here, right? There are probably more like cargo crates and things kind of scattered about. I think there are even some kind of like forklift-esque, like machines, like hover dollies, things like that are loaded up.
That. It's like a little 4-legged forklift. That's cool.
Yeah, little like quad-legged forklifts.
Squat and chubby.
Directly ahead of you, kind of dominating the like southeastern kind of portion of this room, is this large kind of circular metallic building, right? There's like a structure inside of here. It's like a fairly large, like I said, and I think like very clearly like was custom built to fit into this space. It has large, I think like generator units attached outside. You can like faintly hear like the fundamental thrum of what's powering this little building here.
Sounds like the Demaxian house. Do you know that thing?
Demaxian house, no.
It was in the Henry Ford Museum in Michigan where I grew up, and it was this like chromed 50s idea of like a modular house, and the center like spins, so each room can be different stuff.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, similar in vibe for sure. But maybe a little larger in scale than like what this is showing, right? This is large enough that it looks like it has several different rooms inside of it. And I think, there's probably, there is like signage on different things, like, like indicators of like where different things are supposed to go. And I imagine there's probably just like a simple placard on like the kind of like doors that I think are probably almost like airlock doors, like these thick, heavy, like sliding doors. And this building is research. And then to the right of that, there's another cluster of a few smaller buildings. There are these other freestanding structures inside this large chamber. And those ones, I think, as opposed to this very obviously like custom built structure, these are almost closer to like not trailers, but they are like prefab buildings that have been thrown in down here, right? You've seen buildings like this before at like work sites across the Commonwealth. You've probably encountered like these exact structures, but in a different place before. These ones, I think,
it's the tough shed of Imber.
Pretty much, yeah. But I think there's one like larger one that's closest to you, and then there are two smaller ones behind that, and they have like windows, right? They are not lit. I think they're like faintly lit from within, in the same way that like this place has like kind of like just like like hall lights on, probably, right? Like, but I think you get the sense probably most of this facility is still shut down or asleep right now. It's the middle of the night. And then off to your far left, there is an opening in the rock face. There is the entrance to another larger chamber that is attached to this one. Or not, it's a smaller chamber than the one you're in, but it is still like a large chamber. And I think from this distance, like the dim lights on, I think you can see that it is a chamber that it opens up. I think this kind of like iridescent orichalcum glow is coming stronger from that room. And there is also like a gleam of like chrome and metal. There's some kind of machine in there. But I think without getting close to that chamber, it's difficult from where you're at right now to like actually see what it is. You'd have to get close enough to like the chamber entrance to actually get a view of it. But that is like the layout of this room. The other thing that you see is that there is a person here. There is a chiropteran in the kind of like marked band uniform that we've seen, right? Just like these like dark fatigues, the armored like chest plate with like the broken chain symbol. And I think that this person is on patrol. They are kind of like casually strolling this chamber. They're kind of, like I said, I think they've got like this kind of like larger rifle, bigger than like the person who you met downstairs had. They had like a submachine gun. This person's got like a rifle.
Is it a bullpup?
Yes.
I imagine like what are those rifles the Cypriot army have? Oh, whatever. It's super futuristic looking.
Yeah.
IWI Taver.
I think it's something similar to this. And this chiropteran has also like this kind of like combat helmet on, right? This like armored helmet on. And they are being followed by a small spherical little drone that is kind of like hovering in the air and kind of casting they don't have a flashlight on their rifle. Instead, there is like a light coming from this drone that seems to almost like mirror their gaze. Like they look in a direction, the light from the drone in that direction as well. And this person is, I think, like whistling probably, right? Like whistling like a little tune as they're just kind of patrolling back and forth. I think at about that moment, Carta, you've got the headset in, right?
Yes, sir.
The one that you took from the other marked band member downstairs. I think that's probably about the moment that I think we get like the voice of Butte Halloran crackling in over the marked band radio. And for sake of convenience, I'm say like Carta, you can probably patch this in so that it can go in over everyone else's throat mic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I think we get Butte on the radio. All right, listen up, marked band. External scan. Not showing anything right now. No sign of anyone yet. Don't want to be too cavalier, but I think it's probably safe we chalk this up to another orichalcum spike. False alarm on the perimeter. Egg, I want to keep you down level 3 for a little while longer. Let's just keep our eyes peeled. Rochard, you're on 2. Give it another hour, say we can go back to regular rotation. If y'all need me, I'll be up here. Command seat. Give a holler. Brute out.
I got you, you son of a bitch.
Like, we can all hear this, right? Like,
yeah, it's transmitted, like, so you all three hear this message, but basically, summary.
Are other people responding? Do we have to, like, say something, or will it be weird if we don't reply?
Well, we're definitely not going to reply.
Well, a quick Roger might,
We're all good down here. How are you?
I don't think you have to respond. I don't, if anyone's responding, they're not responding on the open channel.
Okay.
Fine.
But, I think if you've learned anything here, Butte is in some kind of control position or control center in the space. And the chiropteran who is currently patrolling level 2 appears to be Rochard.
And so he's passing like kind of, I assume, sort of on like a, Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I think
scripted line of
doing kind of like a circular, checking the tunnel entrances, chamber, around the buildings, and then back through this like loop. Probably doing something almost like kind of a figure 8 through the room.
Can I try and like, I'll cut to the punchline. I'm gonna try and push him down the mine shaft.
Ooh, we could try and call him over.
Or down the elevator. Yeah, and I'm thinking it's like, I don't imagine we have a lot of great cover here. We just like exited this elevator shaft and we're kind of just standing in the room, right?
There are, like I said, there are like, this is not like an empty floor. There are crates, there are machines, there are, like I said, like these dollies and forklifts around. There's like stuff around that you can use as like cover. I don't think this is like taking place in an empty space. So if there's like a piece of cover you're looking for, something you want, that's on the table.
Yeah, I think this is like, I don't want to, we gotta get moving here. I'm like worried that suspicion is growing. And so I think like if it's, behind some, I don't know, like debris or whatever, as this guy, Rochard, is, we just heard it come crackle through here. And I think I'm just going to try and like kind of pop out quickly and be like, oh, excuse me, whatever. And
well, if we're in control of the lights, could we have those flick on and off so he comes closer?
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
And then maybe as he tries to come out, someone pulls him over the edge or
reach up and grab him.
Yeah, how do you guys want to do this? You give it to me and we can talk about what the role looks like.
I like Tim's idea. I think like set the kind of like disruptor signal to look like it's malfunctioning. So almost like flickers, like in an inconsistent pattern. I'm gonna try and lure him over there, and then kind of make this act fast, push him down this.
Yeah.
Let's hope that ball follows him.
What? Interesting. Okay.
I forgot about the drone.
Yeah, he does have a drone with him.
Could it? I don't know if it's like a cone of signal or something, but would it possibly scramble the drone too? This light, anyway.
I think that's a different roll, right? The scramble roll was for the lights. I don't think
okay.
it. Hacking his drone, that's like a separate action, I think.
Sure.
So who's doing the pushing, and what does this look like? What is the role here?
I think this is me. I'm gonna just hop out and do it. I think it's struggle, like pretty straightforward, right? Is like a overpower and push. But I think it is literally like, the light flickering or something, and while he's distracted, I think it's just like, oh, Richard, 1 second, and presumably.
Wilhelm scream.
Yeah. Well, this is our Wilhelm scream. This is our one.
Yeah, this feels risky to me in terms of positioning.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because the chamber has a line of sight? Like, can we see anything going on in the chamber?
You can't see anything going on in the chamber. I think he's on the floor. I don't think he's necessarily right by the chamber, because you're bringing him over to the elevator shaft, right?
Yes.
I don't think there's anything going on in the chamber. I think its lighting is similar to everything else in here in terms of, shut down. Like, there's not doing research right now. Because it is like, you've come in the night. I don't think this facility is like staffed to be like 24/7 operation.
Okay.
I guess you were rolling off of a 6 from your last roll, right? Let's keep this controlled. This is controlled standard effect, I think, to try and kind of leap out of the shadows by luring him over, and then you're giving him like a shove down the elevator shaft, right?
Yeah, like while he's on patrol.
Yeah, so that's starting out. That's controlled standard effect. 2d6 is what you have for struggle. Do you want to push yourself here?
No.
Fair enough.
It's a 4.
That is a 4.
He falls all the way to the bottom. We hear him just go, "Ah, my legs." Ah.
On a 4 to 5, the pilot hesitates. And they can withdraw and try a different approach, or else succeed with a controlled consequence. So I think this is in your court there. You can succeed here, but I'm going to give you a controlled consequence. Or, if you want to withdraw and try a different approach, that is like up to you. And we can kind of like talk about what either one of those looks like in the fiction.
You guys have any other thoughts?
I mean, the only other thing besides like getting rid of him, I have a feeling that there are going to be other guards. The one reason I would say if we didn't want to push him down is, Richard, hand over the mouth, gun to head. Like, you're going to be very quiet right now, and we're going to make sure that we don't have to hurt you if we don't need to. But this is what we're looking for.
Maybe that's like kind of an outcome here is like this sort of like name call to trip and push thing doesn't quite work. But maybe while he thinks he's got me in his crosshairs, that's when like Dez pops out or something, knife to the throat behind him.
It'll be a different roll. You'll have to roll. That would be the different approach, right?
Mm.
Is it me re-rolling?
So here's what it says. The pilot hesitates. They can withdraw and try a different approach, or else you can succeed with a controlled consequence. So if you want to withdraw and try a different approach, that could be someone else trying, right?
That's what I'm saying. There are going to be other people, especially on this personnel floor. So, like, it might be good to have this guy off our back and take that as a fucking consequence of success.
I'll take the controlled consequence.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Your plan goes off without a hitch, right? In terms of like the lights flicker. He comes over. The light of the drone is also pointing down into the shaft of the elevator as he kind of comes forward. And you give him the shove, and he's caught off guard, right? In the immediate panic, like drops his weapon. Doesn't even have it with him as he kind of like stumbles forward because he's trying to catch himself on one of the railings as he goes sailing over the side. But I am going to tick a segment on the alarm clock. Because he falls over and he goes sailing down, and he's lit by his own drone's light as he goes sailing off the edge, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. Would love to know where that drone is, what that feed looks like, and who's looking at it.
Well, the thing is that I think like immediately afterwards, the drone's light suddenly whips up. And it starts to spin as it's suddenly scanning around it to try and understand what's going on. So I think a signal has been sent. I'm going to tick a segment in the alarm clock as a consequence. You can always choose to resist that consequence here.
I can't afford the stress.
How resisting would be
That's
only P could do it. Okay,
only P can do that. He's the one who's right there, right? He'd be the one who could react quickly enough to do something, but
it would take 2 stress to.
You would take 6 stress minus the highest result on what your resistance roll.
I only have 3 stress to spare.
That's pretty rough.
Damn, how do you have so much stress already?
This is because I didn't wipe it last time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I guess I'll just take the tick on the clock, I guess. I don't have any like good countermeasure here.
So that clock is now at 3 out of 6 segments. I think it's 3 to 6 segments as this thing starts spinning around scanning, and then its light settles squarely on you, Rhodes. You are in the sight of its sensors.
Yeah, silhouetted in the spotlight. I'm caught dead in the tracks.